If you are an actor who is tired of running around trying to get your agent to submit you for great stuff, or your manager to submit you for great stuff, or going to different workshops to meet casting directors and just doing all this networking, and you're like, man, I just want to act more, then it's time for you to get to work. And so this is part of the Get to Work series, where I, a professional actor and experienced producer, writer, director, am giving you some ideas on how you can just create opportunities for yourself. And lucky for you, you are living in an age where technology allows you to do so much on your own. So my name is Ray, I'm from Choreography by Ray, and let's talk about you getting to work. Because getting to work can be way more rewarding than constantly looking for work. Okay, so have you seen some of my other videos? I've talked about putting on a play. I've talked about writing your own work. I've talked about just getting together with a group of people and then putting on a 24-hour festival, putting more of that producer seat, but also making sure that you put yourself in the mix so that you can perform in the festival as well. Now, let's talk about short films. Yay! Short films are amazing. Short films are not cheap. Now, there's a different types of short films. So you can do a short film with a high quality camera. You know, you can, any major city that has a film TV industry is going to have facilities where people can go in and rent high quality cameras. However, I'm gonna also talk about how you ain't gotta do that. But maybe that's like you. You wanna, learn about cameras. Maybe you're like, I love to rent one of those, but I ain't got the money. And so maybe you decide to connect with a local film school or film department of a nearby university. Those students will often have access to cameras and equipment through their schools. Okay, so let's say you're dealing with some sort of camera, fancy camera, not some little DSLR or whatever, and not your phone. All right, you can then either write a script, have someone write a script, do a notice, put out a notice in one of the trade publications saying that you're looking for a script. You can take a previously published work that's in the public domain. Maybe you're gonna do like a film version, your own film version of a scene from Hamlet or something, right? So you go ahead, you have your written material, you're gonna get together your cast, if you are doing more than just yourself in this, which is good, because you want to show that you are not just acting in a bubble, that you can interact with people. Because in life, we interact with people. Even when you're on social media, you're still interacting. You're liking or looking or commenting or posting. So we interact, right? So you've got to get together your cast. Again, you can go ahead and put a notice in one of the trade publications in order to get people to join your production. If you got your camera through that local university, you can also find out from the university if they have like a casting website or casting board. Back in the day, all the schools had this. They had casting department, areas for people to post casting, areas for people to post jobs. It might all be online. But most colleges will have something because they have students who are interested in this area, so they want to help their students get work. Now, maybe your local college doesn't have anything like that, but maybe they still have coffee shops where there's like bulletin boards or something. So don't be afraid to let people know that you're doing something. You can also look at different acting studios. You can reach out to them and say, hey, I'm looking for some actors for my upcoming production. If you have any students that might be interested in auditioning, please send them my way. They may say, oh, why don't you use our space to hold those auditions? Or we'd love it if you come by and talk to our students about it. Depending on the town and the level of actors that this studio has, they might really be super excited to like collaborate with you. So that way their students are like, oh my gosh, my acting school is so cool because they have this hookup with this actor who's doing this production, this short film, la 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 la, right? Okay, so all these things are possibilities. Now, once you have your cast, you've got your script, of course, you want to think about your locations. Honestly, if you're gonna do a short film, you should have someone on board to be producer. If you're gonna wear the producer hat as well, you still wanna try to get someone on board just to help you out. So maybe your production assistant, you can get an intern. There are a lot of schools and cities where they're looking for opportunities to help young people gain experience. Again, going back to that film school, there may be a number of young people who are eager to show they can be a talent scout or handle costume, handle hair and makeup. Maybe all of their experience is really on fellow student projects and in the classroom. So finding your project through one of the trade publications or on a notice at their local acting film school is really, really beneficial for them, because now they're like, oh my gosh, I can have a credit on my resume that is not just something from my school. Woohoo! Yes! So you can build a team without having money. Now, with that being said, if you can at least buy people like some pizza and some drinks, it is ideal and helpful. You know, people are giving their time to participate in your project. And I have had too many situations where directors they all came from a very reputable New York City university that is very expensive. And so they had to pay lots of money to go to that school, or else they got scholarships. But these people, like, boo, right? Lots of promises, don't give you your footage. And so with that being said, also, I'm like, wait, one person offered me some coffee or a muffin from Starbucks. Like, what? I'm here with you all day. You got me running all over the city, and this cup of coffee is supposed to make my life? No thanks. So be kind to the people who are working with you, because if you're not, it's going to come back to haunt you. Maybe it'll get around the community, or maybe that person will be someone like me who will put you on blast online, or maybe someone will be like, you know what? No. And they're going to use you as an example, and they're going to sue you. And so, with that being said, you're like, Ray, you said sue. Well, don't be the crappy person who never gave me my footage. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, feed people if you can. Cookies, little snacks. You can go to Costco and get one of those big things of snacks. If you're like, Ray, I don't have a Costco membership. Okay, go to the dollar store, get $20 worth of snacks. Great. Now your people have snacks. People want to feel like you recognize and appreciate that they're giving you their time, because their time is their money. Yes? Okay. So you've got a crew of some sort. If you were going to be bothered with a high quality camera, then you really should be bothered with having good sound. So are you going to have somebody with a shotgun mic or a boom mic on the end of the pole? You're going to have somebody holding a pole with the actors? Are you going to have lavalier mics on the actors and have those hidden? Do you know how to hide a lavalier mic? If not, you need to have somebody on your team who knows how to deal with those kinds of mics. And having somebody scout out locations in advance is ideal. This way, And it's not just where are we going to do this scene, but also like if we have to go to the bathroom, if there's a rain date, what are we going to do? Are our actors showing up on site in costume, or do we need to, are costumes like so out there that we should probably change costumes close to where we're going to shoot? Do you need any permits for shooting at that location? So these are a lot of things that have to be taken into consideration. Are you going to have a separate director? Honestly, if you are performing on camera, which was kind of the whole point of you creating this, then you really should have a separate director and have a ton of meetings with your director to talk about what you want. If you have to, then say that that is the assistant director, or if you guys are really seeing the eye-to-eye, co-director, right? If you don't want to give up, because if you have a total vision of how this scene needs to happen and you don't want to give up your directorial vision, then have a co-director. Okay. The idea is you want somebody manning the camera and someone making sure that those close-ups happen, or the camera pans around, or all the little fun tricks that you want to happen while you're focused on performing. You don't want to be performing and then thinking about, oh, is the camera set up right? It's on that tripod over there. Do I need to walk to, is the lighting okay? So having another body to look at these things is ideal. Ding. Okay. Now, you can take this footage, and you can also have someone focused on sound and sound mixing. So whoever was holding the mic and all of that stuff, or setting up mics, are they also capable of doing sound design and sound mixing? Maybe yes, maybe no, right? Maybe they are only qualified to hold that pole with the boom mic, and this is okay, right? You can have everybody give you all of the footage afterwards. You take the sound, you take the film footage, and then you edit things together. Sure, why not? If you're not going to be the editor, do you have a separate editor? Does the director want to do editing? You have to think about these things. So that expensive camera that you chose to rent should be matched with quality production values. Now, with that being said, you don't have to spend a lot of money on those other production values, but you don't want to get an expensive camera to have really good video, but then really horrible sound, or the shots are like just crappy because you decided to do everything yourself and you weren't able to adjust the camera for a close-up. You were like trying to use a remote or something, and just, things look just weird. You also have to think about continuity. So if you're not shooting everything in one day, then do you have somebody who is keeping track of what people's hair look like and costume looks like, and what people were standing on day one, so that when you come back to day two to shoot, you can go ahead and recreate whatever you need to recreate? Or maybe you shoot everything on day one, and then later you realize, oh, this scene would be so much better if we had this one extra thing, or this scene was great, only we didn't realize that there's a person standing behind our main actors picking his nose and eating a sandwich while watching our scene, and he's really distracting. Right? So, all kinds of things. Now, you're like, Ray, I ain't got that expensive camera. It's all good. You don't need an expensive camera. You might have a little, like a DSLR photo camera that also takes video, or your smartphone. You know you got a smartphone. Okay, so I'm gonna focus on talking about the smartphone thing. For your smartphone, there are tons of film festivals that are dedicated to smartphone footage. Yes. So the big footage that we talked about with the fancy camera, that you want to submit to as whatever local festivals and national festivals you can. Remember, submitting to festivals does cost money. That's how these festivals make money. So If you submit to a festival, then you win a festival award. Amazing. That's something great that you can tell your agent, manager, what have you. Boop, boop, boop. Kudos for you. Excellent. And it's a really good opportunity to put yourself in a role that you really want to play. However, if you ain't got the money, then you ain't got the money. You can still get to work. And so with a smartphone, you want to figure out what the festival requirements are. So most festivals for smartphone footage, they still want you to shoot it as if you're shooting, you know, a big budget movie, and you're gonna wanna have your camera in landscape. So not portrait, which is the vertical version where you see all those little TikToks and stuff like that. Landscape is this right here. Notice the width, okay? So shooting in landscape, figuring out what the length of the project needs to be. A lot of times, there's some really fun festivals out there, like 1 minute movie festival or 10-minute film festival, right? And the producers of the festival are looking for 10-minute films that are shot on smartphones that don't feel like they're shot on smartphones, right? We're not talking Blair Witch with like shaky phone camera, all this stuff like that, right? And so there's a lot of really, really good stuff out there. And if you search on YouTube, 1 minute films or short film festivals, you're gonna find a whole world awaits you. I think I spent one afternoon where I was just watching amazing film after amazing film. It was like, oh my gosh, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. So many really excellent, brilliant ideas happening. And this can also lead to, okay, we've got to shoot a 1 minute film. What's that script gonna look like? You can still have a full team. There's no reason why you don't have to have a full team, but now we have saved a lot of money because we don't have to have all of the supporting equipment that we needed for the more traditional short film festival. You can still have your actors mic'd up for shooting on your phone. There are little lavalier mics that you can have connected to the phone. You can also have the sound going into a completely different device. I've done that sometimes where I'll just take, like I have an old smartphone where I'll put a lavalier mic, run it through my clothes, have that old smartphone in the pocket, that's recording the sound. The other smartphone is recording the video, and then I'll pull the sound afterwards and edit it to the video. And this way I can have more than one person be mic'd and have really crisp sound for both parties, not have to worry about background noise or any of that stuff. Or maybe there's something that I want to pick up that is best picked up by having a backup of the actor's lines. So anyway, this is definitely an option. Yes, there are special mics that you can attach to your phone. Like I had a little shotgun mic for my phone at one point. And you can even get little devices to allow you to walk with your smartphone, using it as a kind of studio camera without having it wind up being wobbly. So there's cages and things to have it be really steady. And, you know, as you're walking, you don't have to walk super slow because you're worried the camera's gonna be wobbly. You just have it in this cage. You can also shoot things so that the camera's on a tripod and you don't have to worry about camera movement or anything like that. If you're kind of doing most of the stuff yourself, you're still gonna have to keep resetting the camera. You might have to mark the ground to figure out, okay, where am I gonna stand? But again, this is where having some sort of team is really helpful, even if it's a small team, right? If it's just you and another actor, just let the actor know up front, like, I'm going to be handling the shots, and you really don't want to have a whole lot of different shots if possible, just because you don't want to have to keep switching your brain back and forth between the acting and being the director and the cinematographer and all that stuff. So, but the different angles, different shots makes it definitely usually more interesting video for the viewer. So you'll find balance with all of that stuff, and you'll let your actor know, the other actors know up front, if you are taking on more than one role, what they can expect the shoot day to be like. Now, if you have saved money in like all areas and you're pretty much handling most of the things, you know, being able to give, maybe you only have one other actor that you're working with, and the whole shoot is just taking place indoors in your living room. Maybe you have 3 different camera angles you're going to use max. Being able to pay them, the other actor, something is ideal, right? They're giving their time, right? Don't just give them a slice of pizza. Okay, but you can take this amazing film shot on your phone and submit it to one of these amazing film festivals that are designed for films shot on a smartphone, and maybe you win an award. Some of these festivals, a lot of these festivals are going to be on YouTube, so maybe it's an opportunity to grow your own social media online presence, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, my friends, so hopefully you are starting to feel like there is more opportunity for you in all of these get to work videos. If you feel like, Ray, okay, I think I could try that, but I'm also thinking I want something a little bit more regular, then please go ahead and check out the next video.